I want to go ahead and maybe shift to another filmmaker that I feel like we really can define as a psychedelic filmmaker, and that how, in the same way we can define Jodorowsky, I think Ken Russell definitely deserves discussion in the genre. And there's a lot to pick from. I think all of his movies more or less have a psychedelic approach to them. I really love Tommy. I think that is one of like the great psychedelic musicals ever made. But since we're talking about horror movies, I think it's only appropriate we talk a little bit about Altered States. I think it's probably the great movie, the great horror film about entering the mind and expanding consciousness, and that turning sinister. It's probably the first time I had ever become aware of like sensory deprivation tanks and that whole thing of depriving your senses and letting your imagination and mind wander and see what kind of deeply rooted things lay dormant in the human mind. Basically, in Ken Russell's world, the things that lay dormant in the mind are things that shouldn't be uncovered, really. And I think this is a movie that we saw together when you were living in Portland. Didn't we go to the Northwest Film Center and watch it?
Yeah, we caught a screening of this one.
I think that was the first time I had really seen it. And I remember just being blown away by it. The imagery that it conjures as you go deeper and deeper into the subject's brain, and the images that he's getting, and the things that he's trying to make sense of, it gets more and more bizarre and unsettling and disturbing. It really, really earns a terrific climax. I think it's probably one of my favorite endings ever in any horror movie. It's this violent scene where he's throwing himself around his house, and his physical makeup is changing each time he hits the wall. Excellent, amazing sequence. I love that ending. It's not just a series of psychedelic sequences. It really does reel you in with this story of like this scientific exploration and this expedition. And William Hurt is really terrific in it and brings a really, he kind of grounds it in a reality, his performance.
Those psychedelic sequences, they're unforgettable. Like, it's the whole reason to see the movie is to build to those sequences and get to experience them. It's the kind of thing Ken Russell does better than anyone else.
In order to achieve that kind of tone, you really do have to push things to a stylistic extreme in a way and go beyond the borders or the edges of where most filmmakers stop and think, okay, this is probably going too far. Ken Russell consistently obliterates that line and goes well beyond it, and then goes and finds new lines to cross. They use a lot of religious imagery, like Altered States uses a lot of religious imagery, and to a unsettling degree and to a really shocking degree that I think most filmmakers would really shy away from and wouldn't really touch, because they know it can be very alienating. But it's what makes Ken Russell memorable and that much more special, that he was able to go that far and I think have real intention behind it. Like I said, it's not just a series of psychedelic scenes. There's a really great movie there.